Well, good morning, everybody. Mark Finan here in the home weather office on this Wednesday morning. It is the last day of July, the 31st of July, 2024. This is the morning briefing coming to you from the home weather office. Yeah, today we wrap up this month, which tomorrow I'll go more into the details of exactly just how hot the month was, but there's no way around it that it is going to be the hottest month that Sacramento has ever seen, and we've been documenting that, and it's going to be by quite a bit. But again, I'll talk more about that in tomorrow morning's briefings once we get the highs and lows in from today. But as I've also been talking about, the hot weather we've had for the last, 6 weeks basically, really did contribute and has contributed, continues to contribute to the ongoing fire situation. The heat really baked out all the fuels, especially below 4,000 feet, and that's why we have seen so much fire behavior lately. One other thing I want to talk about this morning before I get into all the maps and mapping out the fires, the two fires that we'll be talking about this morning, as well as the weather we'll be seeing, is many of you have probably noticed this channel is monetized now. That's new. Didn't used to be. Now it is. And some of you have even given me money directly, and I didn't even know you could do that, and I appreciate that. But one other thing is, it is nice to have this channel monetized. However, we're also going through a natural disaster right now, and people especially the Park Fire are suffering. Yesterday I watched the news and we saw that more than 100 homes have been lost between Butte County and Tehama County from the Park Fire. So what I decided to do this morning was the proceeds of what I've been making recently, because this channel has had more attention lately, I've decided to take the proceeds from that and donate them to the Red Cross this morning. In the discussion below, the description down below, I'll put a link to the Gold Country Red Cross. And if you want to make a donation, feel free. But yeah, I just think it's right to try to help out in whatever small way we can. Collectively, we can make a big difference. I think this channel has 11,000, almost 12,000 subscribers. If everybody donated $10 today, we could get over $100,000 to the Red Cross, and that would make a big difference. Do what you will, but yeah. I appreciate the kind comments, and I feel as though I can help people understand what's going on with these fires a little bit, but I don't want to lose sight of the fact that these fires have been devastating to so many in Butte and Tehama counties. So with that, let's get to what's going on this morning. And as you can see, a lot of smoke coming off the fire, drifting down into the valley, especially north of Highway 20. Obviously, this is from the Park Fire, but we also have the Pedro Fire that we'll be talking about down here. And while this is this morning, what I'd really rather show you is the way it looked yesterday afternoon, because this is a bit more descriptive of likely the way it's going to look later on today. And what I really want to show you this photo from, and again, this is back around 5 o'clock yesterday afternoon, is the footprint of the fire. You can clearly see that where the fire is burning is on the east side of the fire. So you'll note that there's very little smoke coming off the north end of the fire. Shingletown is right up in here, and it looks like the fire is trying to hold here along 36, and it hasn't reached Highway 44 yet. I'll talk more about that here in a little bit. But all of the west side, especially south of Mill Creek, is all very quiet. Same thing along Highway 32 down the hill from Forest Ranch. It's once you get up here toward farther up the hill toward Highway 32 and into the forest land, that's where the fire has been most active. That's where it's burning the most actively. So with that, let's go to the fire perimeter. We've been looking at this over the last couple of days, and this is a really interesting feature, and I talked about this a couple of days ago, that what the fire folks did, what CAL FIRE did, was that they burned here along Highway 32 back when the fire line was over here. And in a hope that once the fire got here, that there wouldn't be any fuel left. And it looks as though that's almost all filled in here, and that part of it worked. That there is still a little island here that will likely burn today, or might be burning right now. But if it burns at a slower rate, a cooler rate, then we won't see it hop over Highway 32, at least not there. So the challenge will continue to be farther to the north along this fire, in the area along Mill Creek which is right in here. And this is also Deer Creek. And then there's this plateau up in here. And but sparsely populated up in here, but this is where it looks as though the fire continues to creep up. And then we go farther to the north along Highway 36. This may have been a burn operation here that they held here, and some have been asking about the town of Mineral. It looks as though it's the fire is kind of creeping in that direction. We'll see what CAL FIRE can do to slow it down before it gets there, but generally it looks as though it's going to be burning up in this area in here, on what's called the Mill Creek Plateau, and not quite sure what the plan is going to be to try to slow it down here, or if they can. But again, this area is quite lightly populated. It's very rugged terrain. So we'll see what happens with the fire. But when we see the big smoke plumes over the next couple of days, this is going to be the terrain likely that it's coming from. So that's the park fire. Let's talk about the Pedro fire that fired up yesterday. And for that, I'll go over here to watch duty. As of this morning, it's now 2,700 acres. And this fire is burning from north to south. Really interesting the way this fired up during the day yesterday, that it burned on both sides and continued to burn on both sides of the river here, down into Lake McClure. And then last night, I don't know why my boundary went away. Let me refresh this, see if that will help. Yes, it came back. So, and not only that, but it also torched over the river here as well. Once again, other than the marina down here, as you see here, other than the marina, this area is relatively sparsely populated on the east side. There is some population down here, some campgrounds down here, but up into this territory also relatively sparsely populated. And if you look at this, it's that same type of fuel that we saw on the west side of the park fire. It's all this grass that can burn very, very quickly. They call flashy fuels in this scrub brush. There are scattered oak trees in here, and this type of fire usually goes right underneath the oak trees, kind of leaves the oak trees alone. But as you can see, there are some scattered homes or maybe outbuildings in here. But this is the direction in which the fire will burn during the course of the day today. If I zoom out a little bit more, here's Highway 49 over here. And so it's this area that will likely continue to burn. As I said this morning, 2,700 acres, obviously not as big as what we've been seeing up on the park fire, but this is going to be another area of concern during the day today. And let's talk a little bit about the wind that we'll be seeing over the next couple of days. This is the wind this afternoon. The wind on the park fire, just like we've been seeing the last couple of days, south and southwest. And here on the Pedro fire, a wind out of the north and northwest. So that's this afternoon. As we go into tomorrow afternoon, it'll be the same thing. This is tomorrow afternoon. Wind out of the south and southwest here, wind out of the northwest here. It's that typical valley sort of pattern that we get at this time of year. So that's on Thursday afternoon, and we'll see the same thing again during the day on Friday. So for firefighters, this is great because you know which way the wind is going to be going, and that's very, very helpful to perhaps set up fire lines ahead, to put down retardant drops and that sort of thing. All right, let's talk a little bit more about the weather because it's going to get a little bit more interesting during the day on Friday. So with that, I'm going to show you the NAM here, and I'm showing you the cloud cover. And we're going to see another surge of monsoon moisture come our way. Now, today we're going to see temperatures in the upper 90s. On Thursday, we'll probably be over 100 degrees or around 100 degrees. Then on Friday, with this cloud cover coming up from the south, this is Friday afternoon, depending on how much cloud cover we see, well, we could see actually a cooler day. It might even feel a little humid. Should keep temperatures in the 90s, I would think, on Friday. And then after that leaves, this is Saturday morning, we'll see clearing during the day Saturday, and Saturday looks as though it could be relatively hot. All right, that's the cloud cover. Let me talk about rain. Are we getting any rain out of this? Well, getting any rain on those fires is going to be hard to do, but where we could see some rain on Friday afternoon, this model is a little bit less active than the other models have been, showing some rain showers to the south. Now, this is actual rain. There's another product on here called simulated reflectivity. In other words, what the radar might see. And that's going to look a lot different because the radar would pick up Virga. In other words, some rain that may fall before it hits the ground. And as you can see, this looks a little bit more impressive on Friday afternoon and Friday night. But it doesn't look as though that would be enough to produce anything in the way of rain. However, over areas like the park fire that may be good enough to really increase the humidity, we're just hoping we don't get any thunderstorms out of that. We'll see how the models handle this over the next couple of days to see whether or not that produces a thunderstorm, because thunderstorms are not good when it goes to existing fires because of the erratic winds you can get around thunderstorms. Because, as I said, the firefighters like good predictable winds. Down canyon in the morning, up canyon in the afternoon. They can deal with that. The winds are predictable, makes the fire more predictable. A thunderstorm throws all of that just out the window. So that's everything I've got for you this morning. As I mentioned, down in the description, there will be a link to the Red Cross if you want to make a donation. They will certainly appreciate it. And what we can do, we'll do what we can here to help the folks that are suffering because of the park fire, especially. So that's everything I've got for you this morning. Make it a great day. I'll talk with you later.